Hey, what's up everybody? Back here again, gonna do a new video, something totally different. It's gonna be my first woodworking project. I'm gonna make a cutting board. Now, gonna cover a couple questions real quick in this little talk. Gonna try to keep it under 2 minutes before we get going. Some questions that I haven't faced yet, and if I don't become popular, I'm not going to, but these are common questions that people should want to ask me is, what kind of film or what kind of cameras am I using? Cell phone. Galaxy S9, and sometimes you'll see a shitty quality shot on my videos. That's because I use my 720 pixel webcam on my laptop at home. That's it. No GoPros yet. Maybe in the future here, but nothing right now. Just cell phone. Sometimes a couple different angles from different people helping me out in the shots and the videos, using several cell phones at once. But most of the time, it's just my cell phone. I had a list of questions I thought would be good to answer, and all of a sudden I can't think of them. Alright, let's get going on the main video. Alright, so this is my setup for this cutting board. It's about 27 inches long. I'm actually going to cut it down a couple more inches because most people don't have the counter space that I do. This is my first cutting board ever. As you can see, I got a tape measure back there. I got Gorilla wood glue. I got a hand sandpaper holder upper, a couple of little foam paint brushes I'm going to use to once I start gluing the boards together. I'm going to squirt it all out and then brush it down. And then I've got 4 of these 24-inch clamps. If you can see, this is very rough cut. These 2x4s on the outside are rough grain Western red cedar. These 2x2s on the inside are just rough grain cedar, and then this racing stripe right here is, I don't know. I just wanted a racing stripe on my cutting board.
Hell yeah.
Now, as you can see from this angle, the very nice gentleman, and this guy was a nice gentleman, all right? For some reason, his measurements were off, so I'm going to cut probably about 1.5 inches off the length here. My other side lines up okay, all matched up, so that's not going to be an issue. Because it's rough grain, I do have a hand planer I'm going to use. My favorite part about this DIY is that, well, I grew up doing small wood projects in my family's garage with my mom's boyfriend at the time, my little brother's dad. Shouldn't have had to say that in such a Jerry Springer style. My apologies, Rob. Sorry. So I'm just going to toughen this out with doing sandpaper by hand and then planing it all down, trying to loosen it up and even it out. As far as my sandpaper that you can't see here, it's going to be 80 grit, 120, 150, and then 220. I wanted to use 180 before the 220, but I couldn't find any. Also, why am I doing one this big? Well, if you look at this big old white spot right here, I used to have a cabinet up there. I took it down for headspace for these videos. This is going to be my countertop. I could have gone butcher block style and just gone from wall to edge of the bar top, which is skadoosh, and taking up the whole countertop. This countertop's about just under 24 inches, and I would love that. But my thing about the butcher blocks is, let's say my butcher block goes from the wall, hey wall, to the C clamp, hey clamp. My bad, assault. I did not mean to do it. Let's say that's how long it is, and then it's as wide as this countertop. I would want it to actually sit below the counter so that the top of the block could be even with this counter. So realistically, I would chop this countertop part off and take it out, and then set a butcher block on there. I definitely don't have the equipment to do that, so I'm just going to start small, work up on a couple cutting boards, and then see what I can do from there. So stand by for this video. Alright, so what you can kind of see right now is that I have the wood standing up. Over here, I'm actually going to put the glue on this side, and then I'm going to roll them over and just lay them together and clamp them. I've got my clamps here a couple inches in on this side, a couple inches in on the far side, and they are spaced 7 inches apart. I don't know why, it's just something that I did on accident, and it came out perfectly. So I'm going to go ahead and set this camera down so my hands stop shaking on y'all. And what you're going to watch me do here is just paint with glue all these pieces of wood, and then, like I said, once I go over the top of them, I'm going to grab this little brush and just scoop it alongside a little bit, and then lay them all together and clamp them up. And let's work. Let's start with some funness. Give me a second to finish this up, and I'll come right back. Guys, holy shit, did I mess up on this? Okay, so as you can see, the board is lifted now, and the clamps. What happened was, when I put the clamps on the bottom and set the boards on it, so you see the, I'm going to call this a clamp head right here. The board, when it was laying down, wasn't high enough to fit in this groove, okay? So after gluing them together and laying them down, I had to take all of these clamps out and flip them to the other side. Now that they've been clamped right, I could lay it down, and this is the bottom side. As you can see, I got a bunch of Gorilla Glue left over. I will be taking it down. One thing I really messed up on my racing stripe right here, the white guy right in the middle, my racing stripe, I glued this side of it. The top part that you're looking at where my finger is, I glued this side when I needed to glue one of the front sides to it. You see that? Because it's the only board that's actually standing up, not on its side. To match. Because it's here, you can see there. It's, get out of the way, Gorilla! So it's standing up on end right there. It's the only one that wasn't laid down. So, yeah, big time mess up. But overall, this says it's clear as in 30 minutes, so stand by for the next batch. Alright everybody, so we're going to go ahead and unclamp right now. You are looking at the uneven side. You can kind of see it. Let me get the sand paper out of it. You can kind of see the edges coming out way too far on the end pieces here. And my racing stripe, just a tad, just a hair. You can also see how I have a hole right here. You can run some epoxy through that to fill that hole, from what I understand. I am not going to do that because this is a one-time project, first-time project, and we're going to just learn and go from here. What you're about to see right now is I'm going to remove the clamps, take a flathead across these glue racing stripes here, get all that off there, the length of it, flip it over, get all that glue off again, and then we're going to start attacking everything with some sandpaper, starting with the 80 grit, just to see what it looks like once I knock that 80 grit down. So, wish me luck. Here we go. Oh, don't do that. Your average cook, you'd be going the wrong way, man. You're right, but hey, this is my cutting board, not yours. No, I do take criticism good. I do want to get better at this. Definitely want to get more efficient at it too. I'm open to tips, tricks, and I don't know what else rhymes with that. Now that I think about it, I really wish I had some epoxy or some resin to put in this little hole up here. That'd be dope. Alright, let's get this show started. Purple rain! Nobody sue me, please. That's sexy, y'all. So yeah, you can tell the difference between what I just did and what hasn't been touched yet. Boom. Cool beans. So let me go ahead and get started on the part that hasn't gotten touched yet. Stand by. Alright, now I'm satisfied with this side. A little rough, but it'll get sanded down again. Prop you up, baby. Oh my goodness. Can you dig it? And that answer is no. Alright, let's get going on this top edge. So again, I'm going to start at the half of this side that's closest to the camera. Alright, so here we are on the bottom side of this now. I don't know if you can see how rough it is on that angle. Probably not. I'm just going to start back with the 80 grit on this side too. And then we will F around with this top part and this back wall that's actually even. Let's rage. 80 grain, I got it right down where I wanted to on all sides. I know what you're thinking. Hey, you didn't spend that much time on part of that as you do on other parts. You're right, I didn't. It's kind of feel as you go, you know. If it feels good, move around. And that's enough of the 80 grit. All right, y'all. Now time for some 120 grit. All right, it's the same thing. It's gonna stand over everything. Get it finger feel how I like. Here we go. Whoa! Ooh-wee. Every time you don't think it can get smoother, oh baby, it can get smoother.
Bless you, bitch!
I'm loving that. I'm loving that. All right, everybody, here's what we got going on now. I've clamped this to the countertop, took a drawer out right here. I'm about to add another clamp to this other side. What I'm going to do is, I do not have a skill saw, but I have this little baby saw right here. And I'm going to go ahead and take some of this down. If you can see this direction, all the measurements are off. So this top line I have right here, this leaves it at 27 inches in length, and that's where it was supposed to be cut off. If you look a little bit further up, I have another line. That's going to cut me, I'm going to cut that eventually, but I'm going to start here and just like 1.25 inch, 1.5 inch pieces cutting off here after this initial one. But I'm not going to go past that top line right there. This one, because I am gifting this to somebody, I think that 20-inch line is going to be a lot better for their counter space. Let me turn it here. So give me a few minutes and we'll get going. First, let me put up my other clamp. Right here, we're just going to see if I can get this in position where it won't interfere with this little piece I'm about to take off. Okay, those are sturdy. Let's get going. Hopefully this doesn't take me too long. It probably will. Here we go. Okay, so... That actually was not too bad for me on my hand. You can see I'm off mark a little bit, but I've got a couple more inches to spare anyway, so it's okay. And once I get this down, I'll start sanding it all the way. Now I'm gonna pull it off the wall and keep on going. Hang tight. All right, so I'm almost done cutting this down some. I do have one more to make, so I'm gonna go ahead and clamp and reposition this cutting board again and get going on this final chop. Once I get done with this final cut, then it's back down to sanding. And we're just gonna be focusing on this end on the sandpaper tonight. Gonna start off on 80 and then work up to 120. And then we're gonna go back over these other sides with the 120 again, just to make sure they're all touched up pretty good. I don't feel I spent enough time on them, even though it shouldn't take too much time. There's people out there doing this with better equipment than me in under an hour. The side is really uneven, so I got a lot of work to do with a sander. JK, I don't have a sander. All right, final cut. Let's rage. Ooh-wee, that is horrible. Some of y'all never learned how to cut in a straight line, and by y'all, I mean me. Here we go. So, good Lord, that is horrible. I got a lot of sanding to do. Y'all have seen enough sanding in this video, so I'm gonna holler at y'all later and get this going. Toodles. All right, everybody, as you can see, I got this board clamped down again. What you're about to witness here is, I've got a skill saw. I'm just gonna cut off about an inch, maybe an inch and a half. Gonna make it an even cut this time, and then turn it over to the sander, so stand by for sound. Okay. Oh, that's disgusting. That's even worse, guys. Okay, fine. Let's look. Oh, that's disgusting. But the rest of this I can literally get with the sander, okay? Let me flip it around here. See, obviously you can see I got a little bit off there. The very end, that's a mess. I don't know if you guys can see how uneven that is. There you go, that's a good shot of how uneven. But it's now at a place where I can just sand it all down. I'm gonna start off with some, gonna go all the way back down to 80 grit on this right here, and then work my way up, as well as sanding down this. I didn't want to fill this in with epoxy resin or resin, I'm sorry. I want to go ahead and just try to sand this all down to even it out. Y'all can see it's about a 1/4 inch too high, about a 1/4 inch higher than the racing stripe right there in the middle on both sides. So let's see what I can do to take this down. All right, you guys, sorry for the horizontal video. That's gonna make this video suck. But I need y'all to see the top of this while it's standing up. What I'm doing is just sanding it down here. I'm about maybe an 1/8 of an inch uneven on this top part that I just cut off. So check this bad mamma jamma. Ooh! My buddy hooked me up with his rigid duster with its own vacuum pack on it. All right, pretty nice here. I had spent about 5 minutes and I'm almost even, so let's check this. All right, let's look. Let's look. Oh, baby. Check this out. I'm gonna go ahead and flip this around so you can see this. Look, not spot on, but man. Y'all, I didn't spend 2 minutes sanding this side down with this bad boy, and it is fucking worth it. All right, you guys, coming back at you live from the house shop, aka the fake wood shop. I switched over from my handy dandy power sander down to my handy dandy non-power wood planer. Why'd I do this? Well, this is a learning process. It's a DIY project. Like I said, when I was growing up, the few wood projects I had did involve one of these. Kind of want to get back down to my roots. It is a handmade project, so I definitely want to do as much as I can. Plus, I don't have the right sandpaper to be doing this much sanding. It'll work, it'll just take a lot longer. So I'm going to try to use this planer to get it back down. If you're a professional woodologist and I'm doing this wrong, please feel free to drop a comment and give me some hints, some tips on how to better do it. Alright, let's see how this bad boy works. Oh man, looks just like a Passover planer. Well, I mean, it works just like a Passover planer. I'm gonna see. I need to work more on this side than this side, but this side still does need some work. Watch all this mess you're about to see. Watch this. Yo, I did it, y'all. Finally, utilizing this bad mamma jamma right here. By the way, if the thing is still rolling, do not put it on your countertop, because now I got to deal with this son of a biscuit. Anyways, look, y'all. I know y'all see that little gap in there, but what's cool is that it's even. It's not rocking now. So I can take this last little centimeter-ish off and even this whole line out. That's fine, but it's not rocking. That's a good sign. Yay! Alright, you guys, we're almost done here. It is uneven on the edges, however, it does not wobble. I didn't know what else to do, man. I ran it through I ran it underneath the electric planer a few times, all sides. It's still uneven. This is after a couple of rounds of 60 grit sandpaper, working through a couple rounds of 80 grit, a couple rounds of 120, and all the way up to 150. I didn't do the 220 grit because I like how it feels and looks right now at 120. So it's almost gift giving time. All I have left to do is to add some mineral oil to it. Sorry, stand by. Alright, mineral oil time. Let's go. I'm gonna do probably 4 layers minimum. These are gonna be my stand once I get done and flip it over. 4 layers minimum. The reason being is because mineral oil doesn't take too long to dry, but it takes long for the first couple layers to go ahead and soak in here. This is 2-inch thick wood, so I'm gonna go ahead and start off with this first layer. Some people start off with a small dab because this is a big surface. I'm gonna go ahead and use about a medium-sized dab on here, and then just rub it out with the flipping paper towels here. But also, you don't want to really soak it in here. You just want to lightly rub it in here so that more of the mineral oil goes to the wood and not on the paper towel. Okay. So let's see here. Please don't make a fool of me. And there's something underneath the cap. Hey, look at that. Damn, block of rubber. All right, here we go. Oil number 1, let's rage. This is not stain, this is mineral oil. It's food safe, it helps fight bacteria buildup and spreading on the wood from different foods, obviously, okay? Check this beauty out, y'all. Look at that. Ah! Sexy. Alright, I'll come back in a little bit. Alright, everybody, this is the final product right here. Okay? This is it. It's going to be a birthday present. If you look closely, you can see how uneven the edges are, but like I said, it actually doesn't wobble. So it's going to be alright. Our final measurements on this bad boy. So we're looking at just over 18 inches. It looks like 18 1/4 long, and then just under 11 1/2 wide. So I'm actually okay with that. I mean, I would even keep this myself. That's a decent size. You can get a bunch of stuff on that. Not even filming the right part. Okay. But yeah, it's good. Again, this is my outside pieces, top, bottom, are rough grain Western red cedar. My 2 middle pieces right here and right here are just regular rough grain cedar. And then my racing stripe is just, I don't know, just a racing stripe.
Hell yeah.
Alright, so that's the video. Hope you guys enjoy.